Lord Evil back in court today. That's our top story in our Barbados Today morning news update for Friday, November the 10th. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. The double murder accused known as Lord Evil, whose real name is Andrea Jackman, is expected back in court today after being arrested Wednesday night on yet another charge. Jackman, who was held at Stroud Bay, Crab Hill, St. Lucie, by members of the anti-gun unit and officers from the District E-Police Station, is now charged with violating his bail. The 38-year-old Jackman appeared before acting Judge Eric Scott in the Supreme Court yesterday and was allowed to continue his bail. In other news now, Barbados' main advocacy group for men has been given a failing grade for its representation of fathers who have been denied access to their children. The stinging indictment has come from founder of Access for Fathers, Cammy Holder, who says he was forced to step up and take the lead on the issue because the Men's Education Support Association, known as MESA, has simply dropped the ball. Holder said MESA is an organization which has a problem with men calling bad mothers deadbeat, but has no problem with women calling men the same thing. When contacted for comment yesterday on Holder's charges, the chairman of MESA, Grantley Osborne, said he preferred to issue his response at a later date. Meanwhile, consumer rights advocate Malcolm Gibbs Tate has welcomed a move by the Fair Trading Commission to impose stricter service standards on the 3 utility service providers. While singling out the Barbados Water Authority for a reprimand, Director General of the Barbados Consumers Research Organization, Malcolm Gibbs Tate, yesterday suggested that the state-run utility should be subjected to even tougher penalties than what the FTC was currently proposing.
For example, when a customer doesn't receive water for a protracted period of time, that customer shouldn't have to pay. Because my point is, those who are paying are presumably receiving the commodity. But if you're not receiving the commodity, why should you be paying? I am not aware that the Barbados Water Authority is a charity. I am not aware of it. And it should be treated like any other business.
Barbados Light and Power Manager for Communications and Government Relations, Jackie Marshall-Clark, meanwhile, said yesterday that the company was currently reviewing the new service standards to determine their cost and the operating implications.
But of course, we remain committed to making the operating changes that may be necessary to ensure that we continue to provide a service that is safe and reliable and that certainly meets the expectations of all our customers.
In response to the FTC's move, Cable and Wireless Barbados said yesterday it had reviewed the Commission's proposed standards of service and was satisfied for the most part that they were consistent with reasonable industry standards. However, the former monopoly telecommunications provider complained that the application of these standards to only Cable and Wireless Barbados in the context of a highly competitive telecommunications market is anachronistic and inconsistent with the ideal of a level playing field in the industry.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Join us from November 16th to 19th, 2017 for the Barbados Food and Rum Festival, where acclaimed Barbadian chefs and mixologists are joined by Chef Jean-Georges of the US, Chef Tom Akins of the UK, Chef Chris De La Rosa of Canada to create dining experiences to delight the senses. Visit ticketpal.com and all TicketPal locations to get your tickets, and visit foodandrum.com for more information.
Welcome back with news from the region now. Public servants in Trinidad and Tobago are back on the streets again today. They are insisting that the government meets with them to consult over its plans to transfer officers of the Customs and Excise Department to the Revenue Authority. The president of the Public Service Association says the protest will go ahead despite a request from 2 ministers not to do so.
No deal. Workers attached to the Customs and Excise Division and the Board of Inland Revenue will take their holiday for the rest of the week.
Without us asking for 2 days, 2 holidays, we will have got nowhere. I have written the Minister of Finance since November 2015. Over 2 years now. I've written several letters. He has refused to meet. Who he sent was the minister in the ministry. Now he's coming. Because you recognize the gloves are off and it's full-blown war.
For a brief moment, it appeared the crisis was averted when Finance Minister Imbert announced via press release that there'd be a meeting to, quote, clarify the government's aims and objectives with respect to the Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority, and to clear up any misconceptions that may exist. Now, Duke said he only found out about the agenda for this meeting via the press release.
And we do not want any clarification meeting with the minister. I will be going to that meeting, but I'm not going there seeking any clarification. I'm going there to consult. Let there be full disclosure. Let there be transparency. Let there be participation in this single important process.
And on the global front, the clock's ticking for the UK as another round of Brexit talks kick off in Brussels. We pick up the story in this Euronews report.
Sticking points remain. The launch of the next round of negotiations on trade and the future relationship could now go into next year.
It's really concerning if we don't get the agreement to move to phase 2 in December, because then that means probably March is the next opportunity to do that, which doesn't leave very much time at all for discussion about the transitional arrangements, which are likely to be even more complicated and politically fraught.
The key stumbling blocks right now are the future rights of British citizens in Europe and vice versa, the land border in Northern Ireland, and the bill, how much money the UK will pay to settle this messy divorce.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and at gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.